Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are in a war against the French, which we are winning real good, in my humble opinion. I'm just going to wait until this number gets up to about 30. And I think from there I'll feel comfortable pressing forward against the French offensive in the Pyrenees, and not before. Unfortunately for our allies here... Oh, right. I was going to... Now that Japan is my protectorate, I can't grant them a state because we're in a war. But next time. Next time, Japan, next time. If this movement holds off long enough, I'll just pass them that territory. And that'll be just fine. This force comparison is a little worse than I thought it was going to be. But I can continue to win wars here, battles here. If they're going to continue to press forward. Hey, political agitation. Excellent. That'll let me throw one more consumption tax in there. Let's do luxury furniture. Huh. Doesn't appear the enemy are moving forward here. So I'll continue to play it slow. The duel. Orlando de Almada and Paulino de Ajuriaguera have challenged each other to a duel to the death. The aura surrounding the two figures is like something out of a romantic novel. Paulino Ajuriaguera smiles. He's been rehearsing this moment before falling asleep. Orlando de Almada, you are a foolish fool. Your insults cannot go unanswered. Pick a weapon of choice, we shall meet tomorrow. Let them fight! Bang. Alright. Probably lost a guy out of one of my armies. No. Maybe one of my navies? Well, whatever it was, it's fine now. I think now is when I press forward. They've got a couple of units. Oh no, they've got some units of squad infantry. So we're equal technologically. But I think ultimately now's the time. Russia's going to have a lot more forces to commit to this front soon. On account of they're about to lose their other war. So I think we can afford to go forward a bit. And our force comparison's pretty solid. All right. Royal Guard's a little bit short on organization. And how's this looking? Alright, we are advancing. And we are advancing. We got 2 battles, and both of them are going forward, so I'm feeling pretty rock solid. Excellent. Official translations. The government has received requests from the Japanese to provide translations of some official documents to their language. When you speak of the Japanese as uneducated, you are seemingly referring to those of us who speak not 2 languages, but only one, just like you do. It is important these documents be accessible to all, reduce bureaucracy, but Japanese pops become more loyalist, or they should learn the official language. Japanese pops become more radical. I'm going to take the bureaucracy hit. I think that's fine. Again, if we can get this movement down below the necessary level of activism, that'll be fine. Alright, it does look like we are dealing significant damage to the enemy's fighting strength here, because this ratio is getting better and better as we win these various battles. Haha, they got stuck in the mud. Military target, of course, is Ile-de-France, which is the primary location. Where's... Oh, they're over here. Yeah, let's let somebody raid convoys. When are you good at raiding convoys? Well, you're a grifter, which is almost the same thing. Oh man, that force comparison changed a lot real fast. Oh man, we got a lot of offense compared to French defense, I must say. How much occupation did we get? 37% in Languedoc, 32% in Aquitaine, And the numbers are continuing to go up. How's this battle going? Oh, it's going great. Oh, man. Maybe I should have started pressing forward sooner, but I don't think so. I think this was a sensible time to go forward. We're doing a lot of convoy raiding. Obviously, they've got a fleet going off somewhere. I need to be more conscientious about chasing this fleet because... Oh, no, it's just going to port. It's just becoming ported. Anti-Russian Association demands action. The Anti-Russia Association has requested that we dissolve our trade agreement with Russia. Successfully acting on this proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. And to those who would refuse and prefer preserving the status quo, there was no hesitation. His response sounded well rehearsed because it was. This was a proactive man, one who spent hours pacing his chambers and anticipating attacks to come. My reply would be that we should never have allowed them to become so close to us in the first place. Our friendship built upon deceit is nothing at all, and the goodwill gained from it, illusory. We will look into this, or it's not in our interests. I'm going to say we'll look into it because I can ignore it until the end of the game. Empty pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the labor movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We just don't want to be seen as partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his tiny office, fist clenched until it felt like his knuckles were going to burst out of his skin. Occasionally he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on the table, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did it mean? That they cared for something? That they'd chosen to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find an alternative source of funds. 2% of pops in Toledo become more loyal, labor movement gets weaker, or everything dies in the end, some faster than others. Labor movement becomes much weaker. I'm going to go with the first one. 2% loyal pops in Toledo is a good amount. It increased a little bit. Didn't reduce the number of radicals. Standard of living seems to be going down with this war happening, but I think part of that's just that a lot of our trade routes were to France. Russia's improving relations, which is delightful. Does France currently have war support protection? It does because of the Liberate Tahiti CB. Oh, someone's got to invade Tahiti. No, I don't think so. I think if I can get to Ile-de-France, we'll be fine. And with a force comparison of 53, I'm feeling extremely confident in my ability to do so. So I just need to make sure that I don't lose out all my war support, because I think I'm the only one that doesn't have war support protection here. Oh no, I do, because France is trying to take territory within my subject state, and until they take it, they're not able to do anything. Again, this Japanese national movement is extremely funny on account of... on account of as soon as this war's over, I'm just going to pass that territory to Japan, and then they'll have everything they desire. But until then, I've got to clamp down on the movement and make sure I don't lose the territory, because then it'll become an independent-ish country. Force comparison got a little worse over here, and I'm not sure what that's about. I hope we're not losing momentum here. Oh, we've got an army moved off the front to go to somewhere else in the front. That's what happened. Alright, there we go. That's doing a little better. Nice. Auvergne-Limousin, we got a solid battle happening here. Got a reasonable battle happening in Guyenne. Got a very, very large battle happening in Rhône. Looks like the enemy seems to have brought in some fresh troops, but I'm hoping that we can continue to bash away at them and deal with this. Let me just quickly do a sweep through and hit the I don't give a heck button on all these other diplomatic plays. Although, economy is growing, standard of living seems a little stagnant. It is kind of weird. Kind of curious. Obviously, cash flow is a little bit rough. And we have an electricity shortage in Galicia, which is a little bit curious. How much more do we need? We need 5 more. Get that built. Obviously, though, these can't be finished until the end of the war because of the cash flow issues. Nationalist opera. The performance at an opera with nationalist revolutionary themes at an upcoming festival is being openly associated with the Japanese secession movement by its proponents. Monday the 23rd, fireworks. Tuesday the 24th, illuminations. Wednesday the 25th, revolution. Cancel the fireworks. 2% of Japanese pops in Iberia become more radical. Cancel the illuminations. Reduce civil war progress by 10%, lose a bunch of bureaucracy, 5% of Japanese pops become more radical. Or cancel the revolution, lose some authority, reduce civil war progress by 15%. I'm going to sacrifice the authority. As long as I can keep this slowed the heck down, I'll be able to do what I want to do. If I am not able to do that, then I'm going to have to go after them. And naval invade them with the 2nd Iberian Fleet and one of my armies from here, which is going to slow down my war against France, which is not ideal, because France is still a worthy opponent. They're actually winning in this war, in this battle here, which is a shame. I'm hoping that my overall superiority and strength... Ooh, actually, some of these are going pretty badly. Well, this one's going well. This is Auvergne-Limousin, which I've got a solid amount of occupation in. And if I can continue to move forward, I can get to Ile-de-France, and that'll be just fine. Not happy with how this ended up going, but hoping it doesn't create too much of a problem. Overall, force comparison here seems still to be quite rock solid. I've got about 700 battalions of friendly troops here. A lot of them are Russian. Virtually all of them are Russian, actually. And we're having secessionists bomb a building. The militant wing of the Japanese secession movement have claimed responsibility for an explosion at a government building, announcing that the time for open war is rapidly approaching. Perhaps we cannot decide if there will be a war. Perhaps we cannot even decide when there will be a war. But perhaps our decisions, while trying to exercise control over these issues, will determine who will be on our side when the war comes. The very nation is threatened by the Japanese menace. 15% devastation in Navarre, 10% of Japanese pops in Iberia become more radical, reduce civil war progress by 15%. Or we will not let this loathsome act ruin the fragile peace we have. 15% devastation in Navarre, reduce civil war progress by 10%. Petite bourgeoisie, very, very salty. Petite bourgeoisie are not feeling happy right now, and I kind of need middle managers. So our nation is threatened, and unfortunately that's going to radicalize a bunch of Japanese pops, which is going to make this pop off even faster. So, French Republic is damaging relations. I don't think they need to do with that. I'm going to take the territorial army over to Japan. And I'm going to take the 2nd Iberian Fleet over here. I'm actually going to station the territorial army in Russia. Because I can't seem to put them in the Philippines for now. Obviously that weakens our force comparison here just a little bit, but at this stage we are winning a lot of large battles against the French. So I am feeling pretty confident in my ability to bring this war to a steady and satisfactory conclusion. Obviously things are popping off in Bremen, which I don't love. Again, if we can get this going quickly, we might be able to just completely ignore this thing. But I'm positioning my troops and my fleets there just in case it becomes an issue. And speaking of which, let's take the Interior Defense Force. No, I don't want to risk it. We'll take the Interior Defense Force and we'll put them in Bremen. Just in case things become an issue. I'm not suffering any convoy raids. I'm not sinking many enemy convoys here. So let's try moving here and see if that helps things. We have taken Rhône, and that means a split front. Obviously, our allies are pressing forward in Provence, or we're pushing forward in Provence. If we get Poitou-Saintonge, which we're likely to get next time we win a battle there, that's going to be an additional split front, but we are developing occupation in Guyenne. We got quite a bit. Actually, we're close to close to 50% occupation in Guyenne, which is interesting. We got another 2 ticks through here for the Japanese national movement. And we'll see how that goes. Occupation Provence is rock solid. Hopefully we'll... is this all our allies? Yes, this is all this is all our Russian support forces. 91%. Alright, and that's the conclusion of that. Developing really solid occupation in Guyenne now. And there's the uprising. That's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. As you can see, France has war support protection as long as we are not in control of their capital, which we will be soon. And even if we become... actually, as long as we're over here, let's just go ahead and invade Tahiti. That's Tonga, that's Fiji. Solomon Islands. There's Tahiti. Just grab the second Iberian fleet and invade there. I just realized I've got forces in the area, so might as well. Just as long as we're waiting for the Japanese uprising to get its stuff together, we might as well. Alright, so Bremen should be sorted out very soon. Let's just make sure they are. Yep, there's a short battle. Looks like their 1 battalion has not mobilized, as is the rebellion in Bremen's usual plan. What's my war support here? My war support's still rock solid. Right, and I've got war support protection. Hey, there's arc welding. Excellent. So, let's go ahead and swap our construction sectors over to arc welding. Obviously, that's going to put a little bit of an economic strain on things. And create some electricity shortages in really a lot of different areas, if I'm being honest. But that's okay. So, let's queue in some more buildings. This is Aragon. Galicia, we already had those, but we're going to need 2 more. Western Andalusia, we need 2 more. Navarra, 16 more. Very good. I always wanted to take over Null State. Catalonia, we're going to need 6 more. Badajoz, we're going to need 1 more. And to subsidize them. Valencia, we are going to need 20 more. Yep, that's 20. Estremadura, we're going to need 2 more. Beira, I don't have any in the queue. I thought I might have, but I don't. We're going to need 14 more. And then finally, for Aragon, I already did Aragon. So, let's just go ahead and throw all these at the top of the queue, and we'll start building them, because this is of critical importance for the country to function. Obviously, that's going to be a huge cost for the government, but that's okay. We've now got Tahiti, which means the French no longer have war support protection, and that's delightful. We didn't even need to get all the way to the capital. Let me make sure I've still got an army over here, and I have got an army over here. Let's go ahead and move them again to... put them in the Philippines. In anticipation of this war being over soon, and our other war being able to do whatever we wish. Did I ever get any influence over Orissa? Not really, but that's okay. I've got Japan, finally, which is really something I'm delighted by. That was a goal for a long time, and that was something I very much wanted. So, and the rebellion against Japan in Japan is about to kick off. And there she goes. Which means we'll just go ahead and land here. Take the territory back over. And then we'll hand it over to Japan and everything will be chill. Everything will be just totally relaxed and awesome. Hey, the aircraft carrier. Wonderful. I never mechanized the army, which was something that I could have done and thought about doing, but ultimately I just never really got the industry together. Cash flow was pretty rough, and cash flow is currently pretty rough. But if I can get these wars done within a reasonable time frame, I can for sure win. France obviously is loath to accept peace terms, but they'll be losing all of their war support pretty soon. And there we go. And this... And the Japanese separatist forces are winning this? That's kind of unbelievable. Well, we'll send a larger force and hopefully we'll be able to do what we want to do. Again, this is the silliest war I think I may have ever fought in a game of Victoria 3. Just on account of, like, the entire point of this war is they want to be independent, and if they lose, then it will be only to their benefit. All of their goals will be accomplished if only they're able to lose the war. They will join with Japan. Of course, now they're losing because they're suffering the effects of their of their government having defaulted on its debts. Hopefully I can get a lot of occupation pretty quickly and not have to start a new naval invasion with my other army. No, thank you. Organization's good. Let's see that landing. Yeah, this invasion's not going as fast as I would have hoped. But I still think it's going to end up going faster than if I restart it with my other army. So, you know, we'll just let it be for now. I really hope this isn't the war that bankrupts my country. Again, because of the weird way conscripts have been distributed, I can't demobilize anything right now because there's that weird glitch with the conscripts. So I'm hoping that get this to... This is going really slowly. Aren't we doing damage to the enemy army here? Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. It's okay. They're actually losing war support at an extremely rapid rate. Although they've got war support protection, which is not ideal. Oh my goodness, I've got a reactionary revolt in Iberia. What is going on in this game? I can't believe it. I'm being beaten by a rug. Alright, well this should get us what we want, and then we can finish the war in Albania, and then we'll be able to hand over that territory to Japan. I swear, if I get to the end of the game without handing over this territory to Japan, I'm going to be furious. This has been a thorn in my side the whole game. Alright, so this battle is going to finish this landing. And then we'll be good to go. What I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to grab all of my other armies and move them into Albania. Alright, so now, Japan, my friend. I can't give them the territory. Gosh darn it. This is right, because I'm in the middle of another war. Alright, territorial army. Come over here. So, do I finish this war? I think I finished this war, because this war is going to go really fast with this huge amount of force mobilized. We'll bring all of our fleets back to Iberian territorial waters. I swear, if I get another situation of cascading civil wars while I'm trying to do this thing, I'm going to be furious. Ooh, I lost a general, which means I can bring in that new general. Oh, but I can't bring him into one of my main armies. Yes, I can. Ooh. Yes, haha, yes. You. I wasn't counting on the fact that he was an ethno-nationalist. That's okay. Alright, here's the Albanian reactionary revolt. This should be really fast. Coastal Defense Force can use an army. Let's grab this petit bourgeois guy. This should sort itself out real fast, and indeed it is. And we've got a Social Democratic Party again. A curious situation, a curious arrangement, but not at all unexpected in the modern day as we sail effortlessly towards the end of the game. Again, I'm really hoping I can win this war before this finishes out. Before the game finishes out, so that I can pass that territory off to Japan. And finally, there can be a unified Japan under the aegis of Iberia. And maybe our freaking debts can get some work done. Beautiful. Alright, so, now, Japan. That's your core territory. Become my puppet. Brazil wants our help fighting the Italians. Alright, fine. It's me or them. Jose Antonio Imats, leader of the ruling intelligentsia, has had enough of compromising with his coalition partners. He's demanded that either his collaborators follow his orders or the intelligentsia will never approve their changes. That's what leaders are for, right? I lead, you follow. Sounds rather simple to me. If they wanted to lead, they could have been leaders themselves, but I guess no one else thought they could. It's my way or the highway. What a ridiculous thing to say. He becomes less popular, intelligentsia gets salty. Or very well, the intelligentsia shall be the leading force. Armed forces get salty, petit bourgeois gets salty, and he becomes more popular. I'm going to say that's ridiculous. That's just fine. Cash flow is not great, but getting better. I'm not going to mobilize these forces because this war is not going to happen before the end of the game. A foreign manifesto. The recently translated works of Hasso Kempner have become popular within the royalist movement. The relationship has developed to the point of Hasso Kempner openly endorsing the movement. And for a whole large class, there is no other road, especially for a nation so eminently practical as the Iberian. The great thing is to get the working class to move as a class, that once obtained, they will soon find the right direction, and all resist will be left out in the cold with small sects of their own. Our struggle is an international one, stronger royalist movement, or this foreign interference ought to be punished, salty landowners, royalist movement weaker and more active. Our struggle is an international one. Alright, we're having a campaign financing event. Parties, particularly the Free Trade Party, are struggling to raise enough funds for all their campaigning needs this election. Let's see what you men are charging. Yes, fees, that's to be expected, but what's this? Lodging charge? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. There's enough wine billed here to drown a fish. Boats don't come cheap, sir. You do want to win, right? Some money can be spared for the Free Trade Party, but not that much. Every party can be provided with basic funding. Opposition become more happy, or if they can't afford to be campaigning, should they be campaigning? We'll go with the last one. As we sail into the end of the game, I am allowed to throw a war goal in here against Italy. What is Brazil's war goal? Brazil's war goal is war reparations. I can only get Russian war reparations. I don't think that's useful. I can steal Kokand or Baluchistan, but neither of those is useful. Don't have enough maneuvers to grab the others. I suppose I could liberate Greece. That would be fun. Can't break any pieces off of Italy. Oh, 11 building levels, that's nothing. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it be. Business of legislation. Increasing sightings of the Iberian British Friendship Committee members socializing with lawmakers at restaurants and entertainment establishments are raising concerns about lobbyist conduct. A lobbyist hands a drink to a politician and pats him on the back. Liquid amber swirls in their tumblers. Jovially, he tells him, "Excellent. You are among friends here with the Iberian British Friendship Committee. Now that matters about Great Britain have been discussed, let us set aside this talk of business for the rest of the evening. This indulgent behavior should not be tolerated. Weaker landowners, extra legitimacy, or the facts do not call for any action to intervene. British-Iberian Friendship Committee becomes more appeased." I'm going to go with the first one. I love having extra legitimacy. It's not going to get me over a hurdle. Certainly will not. Hailstorm. Merry Christmas. And soon our game will be over. I did it. And that is the end of our game. So, we made it to position 2. We never made it to position 1. But, you know, we did pretty good. Spain's a tough start. And, yeah, overall we made good time. Standard of living got up to 19. Not my best, but we also did it with a pretty difficult run. We built a country that was pretty conservative in overall structure, which is different from me. I often find it's expedient to liberalize. But let's just take a quick look through here, and I'll kind of show you where we are. So, in terms of right, we're in. Hold on. Countries. Where's countries at peace? I guess I can't. Well, okay, here we go. So we made it to about half of where Great Britain is, which is not bad at all if we're being honest. I think that's pretty solid. Spain starts in a pretty rough place, but there's a lot of potential. Population is the potential to get pretty high, and we certainly did explode the population of Spain, of Iberia. Iberia. Part of that was by taking over Portugal's home territory here, but the other part of it was by focusing on growth-oriented policy. We made a very solid standard of living. We got literacy to pretty high, and we did it through a pretty rare social structure here. We kept monarchy, although we did go to universal suffrage, but we kept citizenship and church and state laws very, very conservative. We stayed at national supremacy, which means Only basically people native to the Iberian Peninsula are getting full citizenship, and but we went to or we stayed at, I think, state religion. That gives extra acceptance for pops that are that share the state religion, and what that means is that we actually kept quite a large segment of people in the second class citizenship status. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of the country was at full acceptance, 43.5 million of 44.7 population. So only about 1 million, 1/40th of the country below full acceptance. And another of them, about half, are at second class citizenship. Um, a lot of these folks are, as you can see, Catholics from other areas. Central American, Venezuelan, North Andean. A lot of Lusophone or Hispanophone European heritage pops from South America. So that's kind of the overall. That's the social structure. Um, and we sort of we aligned our policies with the needs of the rural folk who ended up marginalized anyway, which is pretty rare, is my understanding in this game. Typically, if you align completely with one interest group, you sort of lock in their strength in your politics. That didn't happen with us. I know there have been a lot of changes to the way the game is structured and the way the political power is divided in the country as of 1.8. I know the petite bourgeoisie have gotten a lot stronger, which has explained sort of why it's been so much more viable in this patch to be running a completely kind of reactionary build. So to take you through here, we got agrarianism and protectionism, two very rural folk aligned ones. Again, agrarianism weakens the investment pool contribution efficiency from the capitalists, which are the people who contribute the most to the investment pool overall. So that kind of placed a hard placed a slow on our a slowdown on our economic growth through slowing down the growth of cash in our investment pool. Now, eventually, it 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 only slowed it down. It didn't put a stop to it entirely, but again, population of aristocrats in the country is very, very low, and the amount that farmers and clergymen invest is pretty pathetic. So overall, if we look at the census data here, so of a population of 44 million, we have 2.25 million farmers, 1.25 million priests, but only about 330,000 aristocrats. And that really doesn't compensate much for the 700,000 capitalists that are not investing the way they normally would be if we were under interventionism or laissez-faire. Um, the hardest part, though, was consumption-based taxation. Consumption taxes are often very, very modest, even in an endgame build. I boosted mine a lot by keeping high authority from national supremacy and state religion, and by using that authority to enact so many consumption taxes here. But even with that being the case, getting no line items for poll taxes or dividends taxes in my cash flow was punishing. Um, Definitely not an optimal build, but also an interesting challenge, and one that made monitoring and keeping the standard of living high a really important priority. Homesteading, that's a given. You get worker owned levels for all agriculture. Not as powerful as it used to be. We didn't do any colonization. We did a dedicated police force early on, but we kept the investment low, which the rural folk tend to like. We kept religious education and health, which, despite only modest investments in these institutions, still kept the Catholic Church extremely strong by the end of the game, particularly combining with state religion. So, state religion is 30% stronger Catholic Church. Um, Religious schools is 10% per institution level. Charity hospitals is 10% per institution level. So, combine all those, and we're getting an 80% increase to the strength of the Catholic Church. So, if we hadn't done all that, the Catholic Church would be at like 11% strength here. You notice one of the interesting things is that about playing Iberia, playing Spain, Iberia, is that the Spanish landowners have pious as part of their ideology, which makes it easier to switch to and hold those charity hospitals and religious schools, and they do not turn into corporatists later on, which is interesting. Moving through here, we did right of assembly and guaranteed liberties, an overall very, very liberty oriented structure, and one that did reduce our level of authority by the end. We went to regulatory bodies for labor rights. This is kind of a middle position. It doesn't increase wages, but it's better, but it reduces the lethality of workplaces, which is really, really important, again, because if you're running a low immigration build, which national supremacy and state religion almost assuredly is, you really have to get mortality down as much as you can and birth rate up as much as you can. We ended up going to women's suffrage, which reduced birth rate but increased workforce ratio, which was good. Um, Again, I did this more for role playing reasons than optimization reasons, but it is ultimately better in the late game to have a higher workforce ratio than it is to have um, higher birth rates. And also, I think having women in the voting booth changes up the way the structure of votes shows up. Although I'm not sure exactly how. I think it makes my memory is it's I don't actually know. I'm not going to pretend I'm better educated about this than I am. All I know is one time I got women's suffrage. I got a massive social democratic party that won 60% of the vote and then immediately disbanded, and I was furious. We banned slavery. That was basically a no-brainer. But we did migration controls fairly early. I think we might have started with these, but I'm not sure. And then we did no social security under social welfare. This is something I almost never do, because a lot of interest groups are against it. But the thing is, when you do poor laws are the sort of stepping stone one, and they reduce the political strength of pops that receive welfare. A lot of those pops tend to align with the rural folk, so I didn't want to go there. And then I just sort of never wound up in a position to do wage subsidies where it would have been sort of useful and convenient. Because again, you often use poor laws as a bridge between those two things. Economically, we started at a very, very modest economy and became the number three economy in the world behind Great Britain and the USA. We surpassed Russia. We surpassed France. We surpassed China. We surpassed Orissa, which contains a lot of India. Shockingly, Orissa never got back a lot of this territory, which Britain took early on in the game. China, same with this. It's a little bit odd the way Britain kind of did this aggressive, like, push to just seize a bunch of land right in the middle of Asia. Kind of a weird structure. Kind of a weird situation. We ended up with an absolutely absurd number of loyalists, almost a third of the population loyalists. Um, Most of that we achieved through keeping standards of living high, but also through keeping right of assembly and through guaranteed liberties. With reasonable guaranteed liberties, which we had at level 3, we get extra loyalists from political movements and reduced radicals from the same. I know that we also, our power block statues for Trade League do something involving that. Where are they? Where's my power block statues? Yeah, so I think this changed because I think this is level. This is state by state. I think this only applies to the state that they're in, because I don't think we're getting infrastructure bonuses. I don't think we're getting 210% more infrastructure from pops in every state. At least I don't think we are. Yeah, that 10% Iberia. That's from. Nope, that's from a business. This one's from the power block statue. There we go. All right, I think I misunderstood that earlier on. Yeah. Let's just do a quick look around the country and see where we've got large urbanization. Let's get rid of armies there. So our capital is here. We've got our very large statue here. A lot of growth here. A lot of growth here in this farming community here. As we take the roads south, We've got huge growth in agriculture in Valencia, as well as other things. We've got a massive. Or no, this is the big city in Valencia. There's two big cities in Valencia. Now that's bananas. Very cool. Yeah, look at all that. Obviously, I built up a ton of industry in Catalonia. We got three big cities here, one doing extraction industry over here, one right in the center of Catalonia, and one over here. And I'm embarrassed because I forget the name of this city, and I'm not in a view that shows me. So you're going to see my ignorance here. It's going to... I think this is Barcelona? I'm going to clear the locked map view. Does that show me... Does that show me the names? No. But I think that's Barcelona. If you know, don't make fun of me too bad. We got another. We got big urbanization here in Navarra. We got huge agricultural expansions all about this area. Same over here in Asturias, and over here in Castile. This is one of our most industrialized states here in Castile. We got a little bit of extraction industry over here. As we go west, we get to another big city in Asturias, and then we get to Galicia, which I, of course, did a massive expansion in. Huge agricultural space set aside here. Small townships here. And then we get into the former Portuguese states. Beira has, again, a very large, highly industrialized area. Beira is our most industrialized state in Portugal, but we've still got a pretty solid amount of agricultural expansions here. Again, we focused a lot on agriculture, so we built up a lot of agricultural industry in these areas as well. This here is... Oh, this is still Beira. This is still Beira. Beira is this whole area, yeah. Then we got Extremadura here, and this is the capital of Portugal. That's Lisbon, I think. I think that's Lisbon. The former capital of Portugal, and we got Alentejo over here, our least developed Portuguese state in this case, but still reasonable amount of urbanization in these areas. And then we circle back to Andalusia down here, where we got quite a few cities built up. All right, and that is Iberia. We also developed ourselves a very solid power block consisting of Iberia proper. We got Mexico and Cuba and Puerto Rico back into the fold. We were potentially in the process of getting Brazil in here. We never got Orissa, but we got Persia and the Ottoman Empire in, so that's pretty cool. And we finally got Japan at the end. We became the number 2 power block in the world. So how much were we short of the British Empire? Only about 1,500 prestige, which is pretty rock solid, if I do say so myself. I'm pretty sure there was a period where we were the top one, but obviously Great Britain has so much land they're holding directly at this point. Yeah, look at this map mode. That they're just sort of all buck wild about it, and very hard to surpass at this time. Anyway, that is all we've got time for tonight. I'm quite over the my half an hour episode limit, but I wanted to do my little pass through and take a look at how the country overall is running at the end of the game. If you enjoyed the run, go ahead and drop a like, drop a follow. I'd appreciate it. And yeah, but that is it for this run, my nerds. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you on the other side.